Hello everyone, welcome back for episode number 40 of the weekly playback. I know I've been gone for a super duper long time. I guess it's been a month since I've had a video up, I think. So I was in Africa for a little over 3 weeks, and now I'm back. So that's why I was gone. So I'm going to discuss all of the games I played in the last week and a couple that I actually played while I was in Africa. And then of course I'll go through all the games that I am backing and culling. And then I'll talk a little bit about my Africa trip for anyone who wants to hear about that, because some people did ask how that went. So, you know, I'll leave timestamps down below. I don't know if you can see it, but if you see a little bit of a scar at the end of my nose, that's because Dobby was very happy to see me and gave me a bite on my nose. He does that. He likes to bite my nose when to show affection. So yeah, but it's like a gentle bite. It's not like a really like hard bite, but it did leave a little bit of a scar. So yeah, so if you see that on my nose, that's what that is. Okay, anyway, so let's just get into the games I played. So the first one I'm going to start with is, well, actually I guess I'll start with the top here since they're smaller. I'll start with Lux, I don't know how that's pronounced, Aeterna, because it's A-E-T-E-R-N-A. So let me just pull up the information. So I actually bought this just before I left for Africa because it's a solo game. So and it's like a smallish box. I can't remember if I showed this in the video before I left because I don't remember. Probably not, because I think I shot the last video before I bought this. So this is designed by Tony Boydell. It's the artist is Alex Lee, and it's published by Frosted Games and Capstone Games, and it came out in 2019. So this is a solo real-time game, and I really suck at it. So I played it a couple of times while I was in Africa, and I just cannot win. Even when I tried cheating a little bit and helping myself out, I still could not win. So you are going to have like these cards on top. Let me find some. So there's like these different I don't know, not which cards are those? Is it those ones? Yeah, it's these ones. So you'll pick one of each of these cards, and that's going to, and they're going to be at the top. And so basically you have like a spaceship that has kind of started falling apart, and you're like approaching a black hole, and you need to repair systems on your spaceship before time runs out. In order to survive. So that is really like the gist of the game. So you're going to randomly pick one of these cards for each of the different types of systems. So there's like, I'm guessing comm is communication, then there's POW, which is power, I'm assuming, then navigation, then I don't know what M is, memory, I really don't know, life, I guess, and then engine, I'm assuming. I was going to say English, but that doesn't make sense. Okay, so engine, I think. So you'll have randomly picked a card for each system, and you're going to place a die with a value of 2 on it. So the game comes with the dice, these like little wooden dice, and a system becomes repaired once the die value reaches 6, I believe. But if it falls below 0, then that system is destroyed, if I remember correctly. And so you are going to have a deck of cards that will be prepared, and in that deck is going to be some of these like event cards, I guess you could say, like special cards. What are these called? I don't remember what they're called. 6 glitch cards. Yes, so they're glitch cards, and you're going to prepare the deck in a certain way that these will come up at certain times, I believe, if I remember correctly. And you're going to start drawing cards, and for each turn, what you're going to do, and again, this game is timed, you have 15 minutes. So you're going to have this card that you will be putting cards around that you draw. So you're going to draw 4 cards from the main deck, and then if you do draw a glitch, you have to resolve the glitch immediately. Then you're going to put 1 card in the event slot, 1 card in the action slot, 1 card in the speed slot, and 1 card in the cache that can be saved in the cache. So here is where you are going to, so you're going to have your starting spaceship here, and the black hole is here. So each card lists different bits of information on it. So let me try to remember what is what, because All right, so the event is this one, so that is the event. So that means that the card of that color will take that amount of damage. So that is the event. This is the action if you choose to do the action. If you use a card for its movement speed, then that is how much closer to the black hole your ship will go. And I think that's it. And then there's the cache, so you can store a card in the cache if you need to, and then use it later, so you can trade out a card. You can only have one card in the cache at a time. So basically you're going to draw 4 cards and then decide which one you want to be the event, which one you want to be the speed, which one you want to take the action for, and allocate them as such. And you always take the so it always goes in the same order. So first you're always going to resolve the event, and then you're going to apply your action, then you will move, and then you can save a card to the cache, and then you have to discard and check for end of game. So end of game. So the game ends once there's different ways the game can end. So if you, I believe, fix, where does it say? All right, so the objective is for you to prevent destruction of your ship. So you win the game, and the game ends immediately, either if there are not enough cards in the main deck to draw your hand, or when you have repaired 3 or more systems, while all other systems have collapsed, meaning that they've been turned upside down because the die value reached 0. So you start this way, and then you turn it upside down if you reached 0. It starts sideways. If you repair it, then you turn it face up. If it collapses, you turn it this way. So you lose, and the game ends immediately if at least one of the following happens. Your starship reaches the black hole, or 4 or more systems have collapsed, or you run out of time. So yeah, so it's really tricky. I even gave myself extra time one of the times I played it, and I still didn't win. And I even cheated because there was a part where I had just done something which I thought would help me in the next drawing of cards, and then basically a card I drew just basically undid what I had just done, and I was just really upset about that. So I cheated, and I just pretended that didn't happen, that it wasn't undone, and I just maneuvered some cards around to fix that. And I still lost. So even while I cheated, I lost. So yeah, so I feel like this game is really hard. I feel like I need to give myself more time. I feel like I cannot work under pressure of 15 minutes. It's just, but yeah, maybe someday I'll get there. But it's a good game, and I'm definitely going to play it more because I feel like it's challenging, and I definitely want to try to succeed at it. So I'm actually really glad I picked it up, and it definitely was a good game to play when I had time to play games since I traveled to Africa by myself and had a lot of downtime. So yeah, so that is Lux Aeterna. If you've played this, please tell me if you've ever won this game, because I would be very curious if you have won. All right, the next game I will talk about is, let's talk about Dandelions, because it's right up here. So Dandelions is a game I backed on Kickstarter, and it arrived recently. So Dandelions is designed by Takashi Sakawi, artist Anka Gavril and Daniel Profiri, and the publisher is Board Game Tables. It's for 2 to 3 players. It's a very quick game. It just came out 2002. So this is like a dice allocation and kind of area movement and majority game. So you are going to have a field, and basically you are supposed to be dandelions. So you're going to have these laid out. I'll throw up a picture in the shape of kind of like a flower. So they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8. And on your turn, you're going to have dice of your own color, and you're going to have a pawn that moves around this a certain number of spaces. So on your turn, you're going to pick a die. And so first you roll all of your dice, of course, and then you're going to choose a die, and you will move your pawn that number of spaces, and then you will see what action you can take. So you will, of course, so if there's already a pawn in a space that you're supposed to land in, then you float. So you move the same number of spaces again until you land somewhere where there is no other pawn. Then you plant. So you're going to place your chosen die in the garden you land in. However, if there's if in that garden there's a die matching any other player's dice matching the value of your die, then you move all the matching dice to an adjacent garden. And there is Puff. If you land on the starting space, you can pick up all your dice that are not in the garden and re-roll them. So basically you're just going around and around, placing your dice, and you're trying to get the most points. So in scoring, you have two different scores. There's Sprout score and Seed score, then they get added together. So Sprout score is each die scores points equal to the value of the garden it's in, not the pips. So first, you're going to score all the dice you have in the various gardens according to the value of the garden. Then you will get your seed score. So in each garden, the player with the most dice scores equal to the sum of the pips on their dice. The tiebreaker is interesting because it says if there is a tie, the tied player with the lowest sum of pips on their dice scores. So I think that's because maybe it's harder to get the most, I don't know, maybe they assume it's harder to get the most number of dice in a certain location with lower number pips, so that's why that person would get to score instead. And then you're going to add your Sprout score and your Seed score together, and that is your final score, and then whoever has the most points will win. So it's a really quick game. There is like strategy to it, and you know, when I was playing it, I definitely saw some strategy in which I would like count out number of spaces and see whether that would allow me to move dice so that I could get majority in somewhere else and whatever. You know, it's a really quick game. I wouldn't say, you know, it's like, you know, it's a game you might pull out to play with like one or two other people while you're waiting for other people to show up at game night. So that's the kind of game I would classify it as. The next game I will talk about is Psychic Pizza Deliverers Go to the Ghost Town. So I backed this at the same time I backed Dandelions because they were in the same campaign. So this is also by Board Game Tables. So it is designed by Hayato Kisaragi, and the artist is Ryo Niyamo, and it's a 2018 game, but this is a 2022 version, obviously, because it just came out, and it's published by Board Game Tables. So in this game, you're going to have one person. So this is for 3 to, I believe, one game master and then 2 to 4 players. So yeah, so 3 to 5 players. So one person has to be the game master, and then the other people are going to be the pizza deliverers. You're actually going to be using the game box when you play this game. So the game master is going to have this basically, and they're going to have different tokens that they'll be putting out here according to a map that they choose. And there are different maps that you can go by, or you can learn how to create your own map. So here are the cards that, sorry, not those ones, here, these ones. So here are like the different maps which show you how to place stuff if you're the game master. So you're going to put out some ghosts, you're going to put out some transporters, whatever they're called, I don't remember what they're called, teleporters. You're going to put out pizza boxes, you're going to put out fences, you're going to put out pizza houses, sorry, not pizza houses, just houses. So you're going to, so the people who are the pizza deliverers, they're going to have a board and they have a starting location. This doesn't mean like that the town is this big. Like the board is bigger than how big the town is, because you need ample space to write, and if you get teleported you just have to find a blank space on your board to then start writing, but you're within the same town, which is 7 by 7, a grid of 7 by 7. So, and everyone is in the same town, and everyone is going to like have like a different like starting location within that town, but everyone's player board is going to look like this. So you are then going to, on your turn, you can you will move, or you can attack, or you can play a psychic card. Each player starts the game with 1 psychic card, which gives you like a special ability. And you can collect more of these. If you attack a ghost and you successfully attack a ghost, then you can draw a new psychic card. And within that deck, there will be some purple ones which will allow you to which can prevent you from being teleported, or they can allow you to just immediately eliminate a ghost if you end up in a space with a ghost, rather than have to wait one more turn to attack them or something like that. So when you take your turn, either moving, attacking, or playing a card, then the game master will have to give you bits of information. They will tell you, firstly, So first, if you move into a pizza spot, they tell you you've collected pizza, or if you have successfully delivered your pizza to the house, they will tell you that you have reached the house and then you win if you're the first person to do that. Otherwise, they will give you surrounding information. So they will tell you where the adjacent fences are, whether there's a fence to the north, east, west, or south, and that also includes the edge of the board. So the edges of the board are fences, and then they also tell you where how many ghosts, how many pizzas, and how many homes there are in the 8 spaces surrounding you. And then you on your board, I'll throw up a picture, will indicate that in each space. So like I used the same like kind of markings that they have here to indicate stuff on each and every block. And yeah, so it's kind of like a cross between Minesweeper and Battleship. And that's how the friends I played with described it as, and I would definitely agree with that assessment. And I really sucked at Minesweeper as a kid, but this was a lot of fun, and I really liked it. You know, it's a. I wonder if the game master has as much fun as the person who's actually like trying to deliver the pizza, because all they really get to do is tell information. They just basically watch you take your turns and then give you information. So I'm not sure how much fun it could possibly be for them, because I don't know if they're allowed to move a ghost once it's, I think they just remove the ghost completely from the game if the ghost has been destroyed. And here is Dobby. Ever since I came back from Africa, Dobby just wants to be up with me all the time, so so we'll see how long he stays here for. So yeah, so that was Psychic Pizza Delivers. Oh, and let me just show you guys some of the components as well. So here, like, I think I got the deluxe version because there are some cardboard components, but then there were also some of these like wooden components to substitute some of the cardboard components, and like, but not all of them. So in here are some ghosts, some more cardboard, some more ghosts. It came with a lot of ghosts. I don't know why it needed so many ghosts. And the markers. I like the markers because they have a really pointy tip, so it doesn't like, you can actually read the information you're putting on your board, which I really, really like. I really like the fine point tip on that marker. So that was, oops, I left out a card. So that was Psychic Pizza Deliverers Go to the Ghost Town. So yeah, let me know if you back this game as well. So that was fun. The next game I will talk about, let's see what I've done. Okay, so I've covered 3 games already. Okay, let's talk about Village Green. So Village, let me just pull it up first. So Village Green is a 2020 game designed by Pierre Sylvester, and the artist is Joanna Rosa, and it's published by Osprey Games. And it is for 1 to 5 players. So you can play this solo, but I did not play it solo. I played it with another player. Oh, this is the one where the box is like impossible to open. So in this game, you are going to start with a garden card and 3 award cards. And on the table there will be 3 garden cards. So you start your hand with, I believe it's 2 cards if I remember correctly, or maybe it's 4 cards. I can't remember what your starting hand size is. Maybe it's 3 cards actually. I think it's 3 cards. So yeah, you're going to have a starting garden card, something that looks like this. And if you don't use this throughout the game, then it'll be worth 1 point at the end of the game. Then each player is also going to start with 3 award cards, which will be placed next to your garden card, so they'll form a top row. And these are goals you're trying to meet. And you're going to have different garden cards, and the garden cards have different flower symbols on them, and some of them have like, so there's 3 different types of flowers, and the types go by the shape. So let me just show you. So like, here are 3 different shapes. So you've got a diamond, you've got like this pentagon. Is it a pentagon? No, triangle. Okay, it's a triangle, sorry. There's a diamond, a triangle, and a circle. It looks like a pentagon because of the actual shape of the flower. So those are the different types of flowers, and then there's different colors. So you can have, you know, red in all 3 shapes, you know, and same with the yellow and the blue as well. And then on the bottom of these cards, some of them will have like grass, some of them will have like a pond. So here's a pond, here is a structure, here is just some grass, like a lawn, and here are some trees. So you are going to be trying to place your cards. So you're going to have 3x3 grid, so 9 garden cards total is your maximum that you can possibly have in your garden by the end of the game. So on your turn, you can pick up a garden card from the face-up draw pile, so there will be 3 cards face-up, and you can choose one, or you can take the top card from the draw pile, and then you can place down a card, or you can discard a card from your hand to the box upside down so no one can see it if you don't want to place a card. Or you can take an award card, but award cards must be placed immediately. You cannot just hang on to them. And so you'll start with 3 at the top, and then you're going to put 3 along the side. And the way they will score at the end is you're going to score the columns according to the award cards at the top, and you're going to score the rows according to the 3 on the side. And there are different types of award cards. Some of them can actually end up giving you negative points if you have something in your row. Like, for example, let me find this one. Like, this one can end up giving you negative points as well as positive points. So yeah, and there's like ones where you want to get like structures and trees. Like, there's a bunch of different kinds of award cards. My one major gripe with this game is that these really needed to be explained. Like, the example in the scoring example in the rule book does not go over certain types of cards, which we had questions about. So then we went to Board Game Geek, the forums, and even other people had questions about it. And someone was asking if there could be like an award card explanation sheet that explains each one and how to score them. Because, like, for this one, is it like each type of flower will score 2 points, or do you need all 3, like a set of 3 scores 2 points? So that was like our question for that. And then there were some questions regarding tree cards. So hopefully we scored it correctly. So when you place a flower, it gets really tricky. So when you place a thing into your garden, it does not have to go adjacent to an already existing card in your garden. But if you are placing it adjacent, orthogonally adjacent to a card, then it has to match either the flower color or the flower type. So it starts to get trickier and trickier, because if you start filling out the outside of your garden first, then the inside is going to be way more difficult to fill. Because, like, if you have, you know, a card to your north, a card to your south, and a card to your east, then that card is going to have something in common with 3 different cards, basically. You know what I mean? So it gets really difficult to start putting down cards and trying to meet your award cards. So it's quite a challenging puzzle, actually. It's really not that easy. But yeah, it's a good game. I liked it. So it's a good card drafting, card placement game if you are into that kind of thing. So I will try this solo at some point as well. So that was Village Green. So yeah, I liked it. Okay, the next game I will talk about, and actually let's just stick with the plant theme for now. Let's talk about Grove. So I backed this on Kickstarter, and I'm glad I did. I liked it. So this is a 2022 game. It is designed by, oops, I don't have the right version up here. Never mind. Let me pull up the right version of Grove. Apparently there's another Grove game. So this is a 2021 game, actually, okay, according to BGG. So this is designed by Mark Tuck, and the art is also done by Mark Tuck, and it is published by Side Room Games, and this is a solo game. So in this game, you are going to have you're going to have a deck of 9 cards, but it comes with more cards than that, actually. So you will have 9 cards. You're going to have them recipe side face up, because those are like the backs of the cards. If you're, you know, you're not going to be using the recipes. If you do use them, you'll have 2 recipes at the top, which are kind of like goals that you're trying to meet, but I didn't do that. So you'll have 9 cards, and 1 card is going to be your starting card in your garden, which will be placed vertically like that. And then on your turn, so you'll draw 2 cards, and on your turn, you are going to be trying to place cards over, you know, so you want to place trees over matching colored trees, and when you do that, you're going to place a die on it to indicate how many fruits are on that location. So like if I cover this green lime tree that has 2 limes on it with now 1 lime, the die value will now indicate 3 that I will have on there. There are these empty spaces which are called glades, I believe. So there are special rules, like if you cover if you cover a tree where there was not a die with a glade, you would not put a die here. And there's some special rules like that as well. So every time you add a new card on top, you will adjust the die value if there was a die on that tree. And if you pass 6, then you change it to the basket. So there is no 1 on these dies. Instead, there is like this fruit basket, which will indicate that you will score 10 points for that tree at the end of the game. So if you pass 6, it's going to actually be worth 10 points. And if you pass, and if you are meant to increase that even more, then you have 1 of these tokens that is worth 15 points. So you can change the basket into a wheelbarrow, and that will be worth 15 points instead. So you have to place trees on top of matching trees or glades, and you know, and if there is a die on top of a glade, then the tree has to match that die color. You can't just place a random color. But once per game, you can use a squirrel to place a tree on a non-matching color, and I did that. But then that will be -1 point for the squirrel, and then minus, I believe, 1 point for each adjacent square where there is a die. So you will reduce your die value by 1 on each adjacent square to that squirrel. So I played this, and I played my first game of it, and I scored 41 points. I did not use any of these objective cards, but I think I might do that. So if you do that, you will just pick 2 and place them at the top, and you will try to achieve that score. And I think you are supposed to add these numbers together, and I think that's like, I think the rule book said that that's like what you're aiming for or something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, so this just shows you like how you can, so you can turn cards 180 degrees or 90 degrees when you place them. So yeah, it's a little bit of a, like, it's like a little challenging puzzle, because, you know, these cards, like, it gets trickier and trickier when you're trying to place them over matching trees, and you know, you can't, you know, cover other colors. So it's a fun little game. I liked it. So I'm glad I backed this. I think it's a nice little solo game to have, and I like the colors in it. It's very citrusy, so I like these citrusy colors. I think they're nice, and it's a really small box. I wish it had arrived in time for Africa, because I definitely would have taken this with me and played it so many times, because it would have been so easy to play this. Because like, look at this box. It's like got this cute little tuck box, and it's just so freaking small and cute. I just love it. So yeah, so I would highly recommend this. I have never played Orchard, which I think is the first game by this designer. So yeah, so that was Grove. So now let's talk about the Guild of Merchant Explorers. So let me just pull up the information. The Guild of Merchant Explorers. This is a 2022 game. It is designed, it's for 1 to 4 players. It's designed by Matthew Dunstan and Brett Gilbert, and the artist is Geralt Landman, and it's published by Alderock Entertainment Group, AEG Games. So yeah, so this is definitely a roll and write without any rolling and writing. So it comes with a bunch of different maps. I do have the expansion, so I can't remember which ones are the expansions and which ones aren't, but the starting map that they recommend is this one. It's Avenia. And on this map, you're going to see different regions. So we actually played 2 games of it, because the first game I totally messed up. So a region is a space of contiguous space, like an area of contiguous spaces of the same color. That's a region. It's not one of these huge land masses. So the first time we played it as though a region was a huge landmass, and we were just not putting down any freaking villages. And I'm like, what is going on? How can anyone put down villages when these regions are so freaking huge? Then we looked at the rule book again and realized, yes, I was wrong. So yes, so it makes it much easier when a region is just a contiguous space of like a small little group of the same color kind of space. So on this, so you have this board, and you are going to have a certain number of cards. Explorer cards, and those cards, well, actually I don't need to pull out the cards because it just shows you the same exact thing. So you have, this game is played over 4 eras. In the first era, you are going to have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards plus this number 1 card. So when you have these 5 cards, you will reveal a card, and then all the players will do the action that is indicated on that card. So each player is going to have a certain number of explorer cubes and village cubes. And so, like, let's suppose this space comes up. That means you need to put down 3 explorer cubes in a straight adjacent line on the sea. This one is, you can put down 2 explorer cubes on grasslands, but they don't need to be adjacent. So you're going to put down explorer cubes, and you're trying to basically uncover different things. So, like, you know, there are ruins spaces on here. If you cover a ruin space, you can draw a treasure card, which will give you either an immediate bonus of some kind, like coins, or an end of game scoring ability. You are trying to create routes between cities, And if you do that, I don't remember if they're called cities or trading posts or whatever. If you do that, then you will score a number of coins equal to which era it is. If you create a village, you'll score a number of coins equal to what village it is. And to create a village, you need to cover up all the spaces of a region within that era. I think that's like the gist of it. There are towers that you can also put down. There are different scoring objectives that are laid out in the beginning, 3 of them I believe, and whoever is the first one to reach it will get the highest valued reward, and then so on. So let me just show you some of these cards. So like here are some, which cards are these? I can't remember what cards these are. I don't know which, I don't know what those cards are. Well, here are some treasure cards. I don't remember what those cards are. Okay, so here are some treasure cards. So they like, so for example, this one, oh no, these are not treasure cards, sorry. These cards I'll explain in a minute. Here are the treasure cards. So here are some treasure cards that you might be able to get. And some of them, like I said, give you end of game scoring abilities. Also, there are these cards, which, God, what are these called? I cannot remember what those cards are called. What are they called? Investigate cards, yes. So when do you draw an investigate card? I can't remember. When do you, oh yeah, so, oh, investigate cards, now I remember. Okay, so investigate cards is when from the deck, the number, the era that you're in, when that card is drawn, then you are going to draw 2 investigate cards and pick one, and you are going to put it next to your board for that era that you drew it in. So if the era 1 card is drawn in era 1, you can pick one card from the 2 you drew and put it next to your board and take that action immediately. Then in the next era, the 1 era card and the 2 era card are going to be shuffled into the draw deck. So when the 1 era card is drawn, you can take the ability of the card that you put next to your board. And then once the 2 era card is drawn, again, you can draw 2 new investigate cards, pick one and put it next to your board and immediately take that action. And again with the 3rd era and then the 4th era. So it's pretty cool because these, you know, you can choose what special action you want to take and it can really, really benefit you. So like, for example, some of them like, say explore up to 4 desert spaces, triple the value of any coins you earn from those spaces. So yeah, so when you explore a space, some of them have coins on them, so you get those coins immediately. And again, you're trying to build villages and stuff. So yeah, it's a pretty cool game. Oh, and in subsequent eras, so after you've done your exploration phase, at the end of an era, you're going to remove all of your cubes, but any permanent things will stay. Permanent things include if you manage to connect 2 of these like cities. If you created a route, you would have placed one of these round tokens on one of the cities that you had connected with a trading route. If you uncovered a ruin, then you would place a treasure token there, so that would remain. Any villages you've created would remain, and villages will be new starting points for your exploration in the next era. So you want to try to create as many villages as you can so you have more exploration starting points for the next era. Because in the first era, you start from just the starting spot, which everyone has the same. So yeah, so that is the Guild of Merchants, and it comes with a bunch of different maps. So some of these maps have like crystals on them, which we didn't use, which I would be curious to use. So I would be curious to see how the different maps play. But yeah, so it really is a roll and write without the rolling and writing, like truly. So some gripes about this game, the coins. So how you win is you have to have the most coins by the end of the game. So you have a bunch of coins, and they say that when you collect coins, so you'll be collecting a lot of coins throughout the game, that you should put them face down next to your board. It becomes annoying when you need to make change because there are not enough ones. So you're going to need to make change often, and then having to flip over coins, search for ones, super annoying. Honestly, I don't think these are necessary. I might just use a score pad and keep track of my money on a score pad and just, you know, scribble out and, you know, or like a, you know, if a counter would have been fantastic. That's what it needs. It needs a counter where you actually just adjust the dials for how many coins you have rather than these, because that was just super annoying. It is easy for things to just get knocked about because, you know, it's not like a dual layered board. It's just like a cardstock, nice, like shiny, like slippery cardstock, so it is a bit slippery, so things can get pushed around, so you need to be really careful about that. But yeah, it is a fun game. I liked it, and I would totally play it again. So yeah, let me just put some of this stuff away. So that was the next game I played. So that is the Guild of Merchant Explorers, and I think I said it has a solo mode. I don't know how. I guess it's, yeah, I guess it's like any other roll and write. You could probably play it solo and just try to beat your own score or whatever like that. Okay, the next game I will talk about. I played some solo games of the Skulls of Sedlec while I was in Africa. So I now own the base game, the Skulls of Sedlec, with all of the expansions, and you're basically in the base game when you play with other people, you're trying to create like a pyramid. This is designed by Dustin Dobson, and it's published by Button Shy Games. In the solo games, you have like these structure cards. So I'll just show you. Yeah, so like in the solo game, you're going to have like a card like of a special structure that you're also trying to construct in addition to the pyramid. And then there's also going to be a special like scoring card, which you will have to go by, or a special rule card or whatever throughout the game. So, you know, I can't remember exactly how it plays. Like, I think you just, like, you know, in terms of uncovering or digging or whatever, like in the regular multiplayer game. But yeah, as a solo game, I thought it was good. I feel like it's really difficult. I did pretty badly both times, but yeah. But that was a good game to take with me as well. So I played the Skulls of Sedlec solo. The next game I played is one that I really had no desire to play, but it's a very popular game. That is Ark Nova. So Ark Nova is a 2021 game designed by Matthias Wigge. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Wiggy. The artist is there's a couple artists, Stefan Beeker, Loic, Bilalo, I don't know, Dennis Lohausen, and Christoph Tisch, and it's published by Feuerland Spiel and Capstone Games in America. It's a 2021 game, and it's for 1 to 4 players. This is a so it's like a hand management, open drafting kind of game. I don't own it, so I can't like really you know, I can just throw up some pictures, but basically you are creating like a zoo, and you are basically like putting down, you're collecting tiles to put down. You have like different animal cards you can play and stuff like that. Yeah, it's hard for me to describe since I don't have it in front of me. Like, I don't have the rule book or anything in front of me, so I can't really describe. There's like an income phase as well and stuff like that. All I know is I didn't like it. So I had no desire to play it, and then after playing a 4-player game of it, I was like, yeah, I do not like this. Like, not including setup or rules, it took 4 hours to play a 4-player game of this for a first time. So me and 2 other players, it was our first time playing it, and then 1 player, it was like his 3rd time playing it. I think he's the one who taught it to us. So it's an incredibly long game. The time limit on, so even on BGG, it's listed as 90 to 150 minutes long. I wouldn't say it's super complex. It's not a very complicated game. It's just a very long game. Personally, I thought it was a boring game. I didn't have fun playing it. It's not like, you know, when I'm playing games, I like to kind of think ahead of time, like what I'm going to do and strategize and stuff like that. You can strategize in here. So like you have a board, and on the board there's like different cards, and those are the different actions you can take. And when you take an action, it slides from the slot that it was in. I think there's five slots in total, and you're going to pick up the card you just did and then move it to the first spot. And the number of the slot will also determine the strength of your action, I guess you could say. And you can flip the cards in order to make them more powerful. You know, I was just basically, okay, and also around the board, there's 2 different types of scoring. So there's like, you know, and your markers are going to meet. So one marker starts on one part of the board and another marker starts on the other part of the board, and the game end will trigger once someone's markers have met and like passed each other, and then your score will be like, there's going to be different numbers on each space, and you subtract one number from another to get your score. So it is possible to end up with a negative score if your markers never passed each other, which mine didn't, and I ended up with a score of -37, I believe. But that's not why I didn't like it. I didn't like it, first of all, aesthetically, it does not, you know, please me at all. Like I think aesthetically, I think it's just not nice to look at. I just, you know, I just don't like the look of it at all. I don't like the artwork. I don't like anything about, you know, about the way it looks. And I love animals, but, you know, aesthetically it just did not appeal to me at all. And then, you know, I said I thought it was boring. Like I just didn't feel like there was much excitement to the actions I was taking. I felt like it was also a lot of luck about which cards come out that you can then take and play. And it's insanely long. Like I just feel like for the length of the game it doesn't like seem to ramp up. At least I don't think it does. Like maybe, oh, I forgot to put this way. Like maybe for other players, maybe, you know, at a certain point they have a really good engine going and they, you know, feel like, oh, the game is getting really exciting. I never felt like that at any point. I did not feel like the game was all of a sudden getting exciting towards the end. So for me, it just dragged on endlessly. Like I was like, this game is so long and I just want it to be over with. So that's how I feel about Ark Nova, and you know, I'm glad I can say I played it once, but I'm never going to play it again. People have said that, you know, they compare it to Terraforming Mars, which is another game I didn't like, so maybe, you know, maybe it's just consistency that I don't like this either, if they are somehow similar. But yeah, I didn't like it. But if you've played Ark Nova, you know, tell me what you think about it. Maybe, do you think I should give it another chance? You know, I feel pretty strongly that I don't ever want to play it again. so yeah, so that was a game I played in Africa with another content creator. He goes by the Board Game Guru on Instagram. And yeah, so he's in South Africa, and he saw I had made a post on Instagram that I was in South Africa, and he asked if I want to join him and his friends for a game of Ark Nova. So I said yes, just because it's, you know, fun to meet other people, and it was fun to meet him and his friends. But yeah, the game I did not enjoy itself. So yeah, so those were the games I played. Now, I hope my phone will hold up and not just stop working on me. Let's go to the games that I'm backing. So current campaigns. Oh, actually, before we go, games I backed. Oh no, yeah. Well, is that what's usually next, or no? What's usually next is games that oh no, okay, yeah, let's do games that I'm backing. Okay, so games that I'm backing. So I'm backing Primordial Secrets, that at the $1 level. That's a game that I covered. It's a deck building game. I talked about it in my last video. It's got really cool artwork. It's a very interactive deck building game. So if you're looking for a deck building game with a lot of player interaction, this is one for you. So I would definitely check that out if that's something that you're looking for. I'm also backing Moonraker's Titan, the big box edition at the $1 level. I still have to release my video for the last expansion, so I hope to do that this weekend. I'm backing Sunshine City, which is a game I had discussed in a previous video. That's a print and play game that you can print at home yourself, and then all you need is a couple of dice, I believe it was, and some meeples. And I played it, and I thought it was a really good roll and write, you know, solo roll and write game. So they're coming out with more, like with another version, I believe, with like better artwork, and they're adding some other stuff to it. So I'm backing it at the $12 level to get everything. It's still going to be a print at home game, but it has more stuff to it. So I'm backing that at the $12. The original Sunshine City, sorry, I think I just swore. Sunshine City, not shitty. Sunshine City, the original one, is free. So if you want to try it before you back it, I would recommend you do that. Yeah, so this campaign ends on August 12th. So you have until August 12th if you want to play Sunshine City and see if you want to back the other like maps or whatever they have. And then I'm backing Moon from Sinister Fish Games at £1, because as you know, I'll be receiving a production copy of that, and it's definitely one of my top 10 games of all time, and I love it. And that is ending on August 2nd, and I am really looking forward to getting a production copy of that. some games that I backed which ended recently. I backed Bog Chal, the ancient game of Nepal. So that was a pay what you want, which I don't know how they're going to work that out, but that ended. So this is like an ancient Nepalese game, and it's by the same publishers of Chili Mafia, which is the set collection game that I really like, that I had covered for their Kickstarter or whatever. So Bog Chal I backed. And then I backed Drop Bears only at the $1 level. I'm not actually getting Drop Bears. I only backed it so I could get the corrected content or the updated content for the Ratcatcher, which I have. So it's by the same publisher, designer, and artist. So I wanted to get the upgraded content for the Ratcatcher, which is why I backed Drop Bears at $1 so that I can add on that Ratcatcher stuff and get that. I had backed the Grand Carnival expansion and reprint. So I really like the Grand Carnival. After playing the Grand Carnival, that is when I had gotten rid of the bear game. God, what was the bear game? It's like similar to the Grand Carnival. It was a tile placement game with Baron Park. So I had gotten rid of Baron Park after playing the Grand Carnival. So I backed the expansion for the Grand Carnival. And I also backed Dice Throne Santa versus Krampus, because as you can see, I have some Dice Throne sets here. Those are volume 2, I think. And then I have the big volume 1 box. So I wanted the Santa edition because I have a friend who I play Dice Throne with regularly, or try to play with over video chat, and so he told me about this. I had introduced him to Dice Throne, and now he's like a complete Dice Throne addict and has everything, and he has like all the updated and upgraded stuff, which I don't, and he has like every Dice Throne box in existence, and I don't. But yeah, so I thought this would be fun to play around Christmas time, so I backed that, and those are the campaigns that had ended recently. So now let me go on to games that I have received, which I'm super excited to show you guys. Let me just put this away. So the first one I want to show you is Libertalia. So I had talked about Libertalia in a previous video, but I didn't have the board game at that time. So I added myself to Stonemaier Games' content creator database, whatever, and Spot came up to receive a game, and then the way his thing works is if you can pick any game from his website. So of course I picked Libertalia, Winds of Galecrest, because I actually haven't, the only other Stonemaier game I think I've played is Euphoria, and that was many like a gazillion years ago. I don't think I've played any other Stonemaier games, but yes, I love this game. So I played this with a friend's copy. So this is designed by Paolo Mori, and the art is by Lamaro Smith, and this is like a reprint with like an updated edition, because the original one I believe came out in 2012, if I remember correctly. So this is like a hand management kind. Is it like, would you call it a hand management game? Let me see how it's described as. Libertalia. Oops, I clicked on the old version. So this is, yeah, it is hand management. Okay, action queue, definitely action queue. Set collection, yes, and simultaneous action selection and turn order and all of that good stuff. Okay, so you're going to have a board. You can choose which side of the board you want, whether you want the stormy side or the non-stormy side. Each player is going to have the same deck of cards. So all players, and I sleeved all the cards because I already know that I love this game, so I wanted to sleeve all the cards, which was a lot of sleeves because each player has a deck of 40 cards. So I'll show you the purple ones. So each player is going to have the same 40 cards with different characters on them, with different characters and different actions that they perform. So one player is going to take their deck of cards and shuffle it. The other players will keep theirs in order. And then that one player is going to draw a hand of cards for the first voyage. And all the players are then going to look through their deck and pull out the same cards. Then that voyage will take place over several days. And you on each day are going to play a card and you're going to resolve them in order. So when you play a card, you will place the cards in ascending order, I believe. I cannot remember exactly, but I believe you place them in ascending order or something like that. And if there's a tie, you look at the reputation track. I cannot remember the details of who breaks the tie. I believe it's the player that has lower reputation. I cannot remember exactly. So you're going to put the cards up there and then resolve the actions. There's day actions, then there's night actions. So you resolve the day actions first, and then it might be that a player can't do their action because they play the same card as someone else, and that's an action that cannot be repeated. So they might not be able to do the action, but you know, some cards will allow you to perform the same action. And then you take care of the night ones, and you're going to be collecting loot. There's going to be loot tokens here. The loot tokens are really nice. They're nice chunky pieces. And different loot tokens will allow you to do different things. Like some of them may, like, so you're going to have on the bottom of the board different loot, like tile thingies, which will tell you what you can do and when you can do those things. Like some of them will happen during the night phase, some of them will happen like during the anchor phase, whatever that is. And some of them will happen, yeah, I guess that's it. So either night or anchor, it looks like, or there's even what looks like a sunrise. Is that a sunrise? I don't know what that is. So yeah, so that is like the gist of the game, I think. So you're trying to collect the most money. When you collect money in a voyage, you will automatically put it into your treasure chest and use a dial to indicate how much money you have. It does come with the cardboard coins, so throughout each voyage you'll be collecting the cardboard coins, but then at the end of the voyage you'll adjust your dial and then put all the money back. So yeah, so that is like the game basically. I played it once, so it's a bit hard for me to, you know, it was like a month ago now, so it's a bit hard for me to remember all the details. But I just remember how much I loved it, because it's one of those games where you have to try to kind of anticipate what another player might do, like which kind of card they might play. So I like games like that. It's kind of like, if you like games like Broom Service, where you kind of have to anticipate what cards someone might play, or yeah, like Broom Service, or Witch's Brew if you have the original edition of that game, version of that game. It's like that, so I really, really like it. And also each player comes with a ship. Where did I put my ship? I don't know where the ship went. It's just like a cardboard thingy where you put cards underneath. So you might be able to bring back some dead creatures back to life or whatever. I don't know where that ship went. Oh, here it is. So you have a ship as well, and you'll be placing cards that have been like killed off underneath it, but they can be brought back. So you know, I was reading the forums, so someone said maybe discard is not the right word, maybe they're just resting or something like that. So yeah, so it's a really good game. The insert is great. I'm so glad about this insert that it holds sleeved cards. However, I did not sleeve the solo cards, so I just have those. I don't ever intend on playing this game solo, because I just think it's one of those games that's probably a lot more fun playing with other people. This is the reputation marker, by the way. So yeah, and I actually took out all my coins from Merchants of the Dark Road, and I stuck them in this box because I don't anticipate playing Merchants of the Dark Road anytime soon. So I want to, but I think I'll probably end up playing it in the winter time or something like that. So for now, I put those coins in here. So, because I really do want to play this again sometime soon. So I was super happy to get a review copy of this. I'm actually selling a copy because like just before I had the opportunity to get a review copy, I purchased a copy of this, so I am selling it. It's brand new, it's in shrink, so you know, if you want to buy this, I have a copy for sale on BGG. Okay, the next game I will talk about that I received is Eternal Palace. This is designed by, oh sorry, I didn't read any of the information for the previous one. This is designed by Stephen Aramini, and the art is by Quentin Regnes, and it's published by Alley Cat Games. It's for 1 to 5 players. It's a dice placement game. I haven't fully unboxed this. I've just basically taken off the shrink wrap. It's got a really nice big rule book, and even the rule book smells kind of good. Okay, it's got all this stuff in here, which I haven't punched out yet. So in this game, you are basically like creating like these pretty like artwork pieces. It's been a long time. I covered this for its Kickstarter, so honestly, I don't remember too much about it because it's been a very, very long time. But this is the board. It comes with really pretty colored dice, which you'll be using to place, and a bunch of smaller tokens. And then it comes with a bunch of like different art pieces. It has a nice insert. I think that the art pieces go in here. And here are the art pieces, so you're actually going to have like easels. I don't know if it actually comes with easels. I don't think it does. Does it? Does it come with easels? I don't know. I don't see any easels. Maybe there's cardboard that you cut out, punch out, and make into an easel. But you're going to be constructing art pieces, essentially, from different types of like layers. And there's cards, a bunch of different kinds of cards and stuff. But yeah, like I said, I don't remember too much about it. All I remember is you're making art pieces, and that's like literally all I remember right now. So yeah, so this arrived. So again, that's Alley Cat Games. They've published some other games that I really like. So let me just put this stuff back in. So I hope to get this to the table sometime soon. I'm going to be talking about culling games in a bit because I do plan on culling a lot of games. So if you want to stick around for that discussion, you can. All right, the next game that I received, I already talked about Grove. I received ROVE, they rhyme, and it's also a button shy game. So I was super excited for ROVE, and I really wish it had arrived before I went to Africa because I would have loved to have taken it with me. So this is a solo game with cute little, like, a cute little rover. And I guess he's like, I don't know if he's like on a planet or like a moon. I don't remember at this point in time. And I don't even know how this game plays because I actually didn't really look that up. All I saw was that it's by the same designer as the Skulls of Sedlec, and it's a solo game, and I decided I needed it, especially because the artwork is just so freaking cute. So I'm really looking forward to playing this. ROVE is Results-Oriented Versatile Explorer. Yeah, so I ordered all the expansions and the extra wallet to store the expansions in. Another game that came in that I ordered is Unsurmountable, so I also got that from the Kickstarter. And that's also a button shy game. It's a Scott Alms solo game, and I guess you're climbing a mountain, and it has super cute artwork as well. And yeah, I sleeved the cards. I might be like the only crazy one who even sleeves like button shy games. I don't know if anyone else does. It does make it a bit harder to close these wallets sometimes. Okay, the next game, I think I've gone, oh no, actually, I received this. This is my expansion that I backed, Villagers Shifting Seasons. So I backed the expansion to Villagers, so I still need to open this. But yeah, it's just going to be a bunch of cards, I think, so I won't open that. I received Regency, which is a game I had covered for its Kickstarter. So this is designed by James I. Fazio, and it's for 2 to 6 players. Honestly, I do not remember anything about this game at this point in time. I can't remember if it was like a deck building game or just like an card action game. It's really hard for me to remember, but basically you're playing some kind of a different ruler from history. I'll just go through all of them for you guys right now. The artwork is really just beautiful though, isn't it? I think it's just really, really beautiful. So yeah, lots of different rulers from history to choose from. Sorry, it's getting unmanageable. Let me just put that down. Yeah, so those are all the different rulers you can play as, I guess. And it comes with a board and a bunch of different cards with really beautiful artwork on it as well. So it comes with like a bunch of different cards. I'll just show you the inside of the box. So yeah, I just really love the artwork. I think the artwork is just really beautiful. But again, I do not remember how it plays. So I'm going to need to pull out the rule book because it was a long time ago that I covered it. It was like 2 years ago. So maybe more than 2 years ago now. So it's been a very, very long time. Yeah, so this arrived recently. The next game I can show you, which I might sell, and I'll talk a bit more in the culling collection because I have a lot of debt I need to pay off, so I have a lot of tough decisions to make. So ScandalOh arrived, so I was a huge fan of the Awkward Guess game. This is by the same publisher and designer. It's also a deduction game. And I covered it for its Kickstarter. Similar style, you're going to have cards and, you know, each scenario will be different cards that you select, and it's like app-based. so you won't necessarily be eliminated if you guess incorrectly. But this one, of course, is not like someone's been murdered. This one you're trying to like break a story or something like that. It comes with, I think this is just a correction of some kind of card. It comes with some kind of book. I don't know what this book is supposed to be, if it's just for fun, just for some pretty artwork. I don't know. Just like an art book. I don't know if this actually has to do with the game because it wasn't in the prototype. Oh, it's a book for the most seasoned journalist that brings you 36 exclusive games. Oh, cool. Narratives behind the stories. Okay, so yeah, it's just some kind of bonus, I think, for backers. And then there's something in here. Let me see what's in here. Oh. It looks like it's some score sheets or something. Postcards. Oh, and some stuff to punch out. Okay. So that's what's in here. And then the actual game I haven't opened yet because, like I said, I might sell this. So let me just talk about games that I'm culling. So I actually culled Endless Winter already. So I listed Endless Winter, my pledge. I had the all-in deluxe version of Endless Winter, and as some of you might know, I used to briefly, for a short time, work for Fantasia Games, but that happened well after I, pledged for Endless Winter. So before I had any relationship with Fantasia Games, I had backed Endless Winter at the all-in version. And then I worked for Endless Winter for a couple of months before they decided to get rid of me because of, someone had made some stupid comment about me on Reddit, and they got all worried that, they might get canceled because people were trying to cancel me, so they basically fired me as their community manager. So I was supposed to make content for Endless Winter, but I have a lot of credit card debt to pay off from my trips. So I'm like, given the kind of history I have with Fantasia Games, I'm not even sure I'd want to play this game anymore. I don't know. So anyway, so I listed it for sale on BGG, my entire pledge, because I was like, it would just be really easy for me to switch the address to someone else. And literally within an hour, I sold my pledge, and literally the next day, the address confirmation email came, so that worked out perfectly. So I sold Endless Winter. I'm calling Dice Theme Park, which is in a box taped up because the new BGG market, they ask you to give the dimensions of the box if you're selling something and the weight of the box. So I actually had listed that on the new marketplace first before I then listed it on the classic one. So I already taped it up and everything. So Dice Theme Park is a game that I'm calling. It's brand new. Just because I feel like I don't need it. I have other theme park themed games, and I have a lot of dice games and stuff like that, and it was an okay game. It's not one that I was super crazy about when I covered it for its Kickstarter, so I'm like, I can call that. I'm calling Latte Throwdown, which is a game I had discussed, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago now. It's a dice rolling placement kind of game. I just wasn't that into it. I had bought that from Board Game Bliss in Canada. It's an okay game. I just, me and the friend who I was playing with could think of a lot of ways to improve it. So I'm just like, chances are I'm probably never going to play it again. I like the coffee theme, but then again, I have Cafe, which is one of my top 10 games of all time, which I love, and that's coffee themed, and I don't even really drink coffee anyway, so I'm like, I don't need to keep Latte Throwdown, so I'm calling that. So that's listed for sale. I'm going to call Living Forest, which is here. So I discussed Living Forest in a video, I think a couple months ago maybe. I just wasn't that into it. The reason I bought it was because of the artwork and everything I had heard about it, but I just wasn't that into it. So I'm like, I have to make some tough decisions about which games to call because I cannot have a collection of 500 games. I just do not have the space for it right now. I have so many games in boxes in my sister's basement, which, I'm going to have to go through as well and inventory again and see which ones from those I can sell because my trips have put me a little bit behind in terms of finances and, well, a lot behind actually. So I have a lot of credit card debt that I really need to pay off. So I'm really going to go heavy on the culling, which is going to be so hard for me because, I'm the kind of person who can find a reason to keep every game because, there's different themes, but then there's different mechanics within a single theme. Like I might have, 10 games about plants, but they have different mechanics. So I might be like, well, what if I want to play a game about plants, but that's a dice rolling game instead of this kind of game? So that's why I need all of them. But I really have to stop doing that. I really have to stop keeping every game with every theme and every mechanic and convincing myself that I need it because you know, when you have like over 500 games, you're going to have games that don't even get played like 2 years for 2 years. And that's definitely the case right now. And I think I would like to start focusing on games that I love and playing the games I love more and more. There are games I love which I haven't played in forever. So like Petrichor. So yeah, I really need to be more selective about what I'm backing, and I might even sell some pledges, other pledges that I have which haven't been delivered yet, that I can just easily change the address to the buyer. So I'm going to be doing that, you know, pretty heavily going forward. So I'll just leave a link to my BGG market, the classic one, not the new one, because I don't think everyone has access to the new one yet, in case anyone is interested. Of course, it'll be easier if you live in America to buy games from me if you want to. So right now, oh my god, this video is going to be insanely long, but I'm going to stop this video, take a break, and then I'll come back and discuss all the other stuff. All right. Okay, I am back. I just had some water, and I'm really hot. Wow, it's really hot. But I have the AC on. That's the noise you can hear anyway. So the first thing I want to talk about before I get into my Africa trip is to talk about the format of my videos. And by format, I mean vertical versus horizontal. So my 1-minute videos are vertical, and you guys might have noticed recently that I had changed it. So before I had just used to put the vertical video just as is, and then I had started adding like a photo to each side, which made it horizontal, but then the vertical part of the video was actually smaller, so you couldn't actually see the board and the components, since that part became smaller, since it was part of a more horizontal, bigger screen or whatever. And then recently, yet again, I started posting my 1-minute videos as just the vertical video without pictures on the side. And the reason I did that is because I remember a comment from a long time ago where someone posted that they liked the fact that my videos were vertical because they could just watch it on their phone, and you know, it would fit the phone screen perfectly. And I remembered that comment, so I decided to for my 1-minute videos to make it that way again. And anyway, when the pictures were on the side and just that one like vertical box in the middle, it looked kind of funny anyway. But what do you guys think? Because I still get comments on my videos like, why are your videos vertical? Well, I shoot them on TikTok, first of all, so that's why they're vertical. It would be kind of weird to have a horizontal video on TikTok, because again, it would be really small. So the 1-minute videos are probably going to stay vertical, to be honest, just because, you know, that's like the nature of them. They're just meant to give you a gist of the game. They're not meant to be full like playthroughs or full walkthroughs of the game. They're meant to give you a gist of it and to give you an idea of whether or not that might be a game that you enjoy. You know, and I started on TikTok, and TikTok is vertical, and so hence they're vertical. So those will stay the same, I think. But yeah, do you guys agree with me not putting pictures on the sides of them anymore? If you guys have feedback about that, I would really appreciate it. Or if you really think I should start making horizontal 1-minute videos, let me know, because truthfully, my platform on TikTok is not as large as YouTube or Facebook or Instagram and my other platforms anyway. I have way more followers on other platforms than on TikTok. While it's true, I was like, if not the first, one of the first board gamers on TikTok and started that whole 1-minute board game video trend, I'm not, you know, I don't do the TikTok trends that has increased my following on TikTok. So like, you know, my followers on TikTok are all like, you know, hobby board gamers. I never participate in like TikTok trends by adding in like funny or, you know, dances or songs or whatever in my videos. So that's why my following on TikTok, you know, increases at a much slower rate than my other platforms. But I'm glad that publishers still see value in my videos because they see my level of engagement on all my platforms and see that there is value to those videos, even though my TikTok following is not as high as my other platforms. But yeah, so you know, there is a possibility I could make them horizontal then, since my TikTok following isn't as large. You know, so I don't know how that would impact TikTok and, you know, the followers there, who would then see like a small kind of, you know, video instead of the vertical. I don't know, but, you know, please give me your thoughts on that if you have any thoughts about that. The next thing is I won't be at Gen Con. Again, I have a lot of credit card debt to pay off from my recent trips. And also a bunch of different life, expenses that had happened in the last months. Like before 2021, I never had any credit card debt, and now I have a lot. And it is terrifying to go from no debt to an enormous amount, and you're just like, how did this happen? It just kind of crept up on you. So it really did. It just crept up on me. So, so at least it feels like that. I had a bunch of car problems. I had to buy a new car, but before buying a new car and trading in my old car, I had to spend thousands of dollars on my old car, which in hindsight, I wish I hadn't done, because I ended up getting a new car anyway because I realized that car just really needed to be traded in. I had accidentally destroyed my microwave, which was a whole nother story in itself, and I had to spend money on buying a new microwave and getting that installed, since I can't install a microwave myself. It's the kind that actually goes like underneath or above the oven range and into like the wall below some cabinets. So I actually had to pay someone to come in and install it and stuff like that. So different life expenses, they just tend to add up. Car insurance, I got that bill recently, which I really wish I hadn't. So stuff just adds up. And so where am I going with this? I don't even, oh yeah, so Gen Con. So I'm not going to Gen Con because I really need to take a break from traveling and not spend money. So I will not be at Gen Con. But, excuse me, I will be at PAX Unplugged, of course. In fact, I've already booked my Airbnb because they're much cheaper than the hotels in Philadelphia, and I wanted to make sure I get a good rate. So I've already booked my Airbnb for PAX Unplugged. So if you will be at PAX Unplugged, I will see you there. I will not see you at Gen Con, unfortunately. I've never been to Gen Con, actually, but maybe someday I would love to go. So speaking of finances, I would really love to make some extra income. So, I doubt any publishers watch this, but if any of my, fans are watching this, and if you think that there's a publisher that, would be a good fit for me, and always feel free to reach out to them and see if they have any work that I could do, like whether that's covering videos. I'm actually going to reach out to publishers. I already started with one. I'm waiting for a response. I don't even know if I'll hear back from them, to see if they have any other kind of work that they, would like help with, that is like part-time remote work that I can do, kind of like I was doing for Fantasia. So for Fantasia games, in addition to community like engagement, I was editing their Kickstarters at the time, their updates, because they weren't native English speakers. So you can probably see a difference from when I was working for them to when I was not, because after I left, the updates went back to being, the English is not as proper as it was when I was editing it. So I was helping them with editing their Kickstarter updates and all of that stuff too. And, just a bunch of like other things that mostly a lot of editing work, actually, because I actually English is really one of my strong suits, actually, and I actually would edit a lot of papers for friends and family as well, in fact. So it's something that I'm really skilled at. So if any publishers, I think maybe I might offer my services as a rulebook editor, because I really think I would be good at that, because combining my English skills and as well as my attorney skills and seeing how a rule book should be laid out, I really feel like I would be a good rule book editor. And that's not a job that I think everyone is qualified for, but I really do believe that as an attorney and someone who has really strong grammar and editorial skills, that I would be good at it. So I'm going to reach out to publishers and see if anyone needs any work done, because I would really like an extra source of income. Even after I pay off my credit card debt, it would just be nice to have an extra source of income, because I do need to upgrade my space as well someday. Like, this is a very small space, and it is a really huge pain when I need to shoot playthroughs or anything like that, because I have so much maneuvering around to do, even for my 1-minute videos. Like, there's just a lot of stuff to move around sometimes. And it would just be really nice to have a 2-bedroom apartment, so I can make one room a studio and not have to change anything. So that is the goal, to pay off my debt and to move. so we'll see. So I would really, appreciate an extra source of income. So I'm going to start looking around and asking publishers if they need help with anything. So now I can talk about my Africa trip. So I was gone for like 3 weeks. Started in Kenya. So I did say I was going to vlog. I realized very early on that I cannot vlog. It was just so awkward for me. I tried it in the Doha, Qatar airport, where I had an extremely long layover, and I was just feeling super duper awkward talking into a camera with all these people watching me, and it was just so awkward. And then I realized in Kenya that I just, it's just not something I can do just point a camera to me and just start talking about what I'm doing. I really wanted to be in the moment, actually appreciating the wildlife too. But I will still post something. So I'm planning on still creating a video with the different video clips I have of Africa and the photographs I have, which I still need to upload from my proper camera. Any photographs that you've seen until now, if you've seen any, would have been from my phone, not from my proper Canon camera. And same with videos. So I still plan on uploading those and creating like an edited video of all of that to share with you guys. But yeah, Kenya was amazing. It was very rough living for someone like me. So I'm not really someone who goes camping and stuff like that. So it was really hard to be in these like camps and these tents where sometimes I would have running water, sometimes I wouldn't, planning on when to shower. And, in Kenya, so many dirt roads, I would literally be covered with dirt every day. Like just driving on these safari roads with the vehicles having like a lot of openings where dirt could come in. Even when you would roll up your windows and stuff, dirt would still somehow get inside. I would literally just be covered in dirt all the time. Everything would get covered in dirt. So very dirty. So all my clothes would just get really dirty. My camera got dirty, like the binoculars, everything just very dirty. My phone. Where was I going with this? I don't even know. It was really hard to be in Kenya as someone who I would say is high maintenance. My family has told me I'm high maintenance. Like, I like to spend a fair amount of time in the bathroom getting ready, and whenever I go on vacation, I take like all my toiletries with me. I want to make sure I have everything that I need, including cuticle clippers. Like, I'm a pretty high maintenance person. So I had to really give up a lot of things when I was in Kenya, such as shampooing. So like, I might not shampoo for like 2 days because the water wasn't running. And then because of how much dirt there is, like by the time I actually could shampoo, my hair was just like this like icky mess. So that was not fun. My stomach was really bad in Kenya. So I think very early on I got like some bacterial like stomach poisoning of some kind or something, like a bacterial stomach infection. So when I went to a pharmacist at first, they gave me some medicine, which was not the correct medicine. And my older sister is a doctor, so I reached out to her because I had been taking the medicine that the pharmacist recommended to me for a couple days and it wasn't working. So then my sister told me that it's a bacterial infection, not like the kind of thing that the pharmacist in Kenya thought. So then she recommended medicine to me and I went and bought it and started taking it every day, and then my stomach got much better. So for the vast majority of my trip in Kenya, I don't know if it was for the vast majority, but for a big portion of the trip, my stomach was not sitting well, which was not fun because the bathroom situation in Kenya, in the parks is not great either. So like if you are going on an all-day safari, if you're a woman, you just really want to hold it in and pray that you do not have to use the bathroom when you're in Kenya on an all-day safari, because the men just get out and go wherever they want. The women, I would not feel comfortable going behind a bush, which my guides had recommended to me several times, and I said no. So it was very hard because I would refuse to go behind a bush. So that was that. In terms of animals, absolutely amazing. So I started out by spending one night by myself in Nairobi in an Airbnb, and then the next day I was transported to this lodge, which was a really nice lodge. It was like the nicest accommodations I had in Kenya during the safari part of the trip. It was called Ololo Safari Lodge, just outside of Kenya National Park in Nairobi, which doesn't have a lot of animals. So if you're staying in this lodge, it's mostly for the lodge experience, not really the animals, though we were surprised because we actually did see some rhinos. So we were told there were rhinos in this park, but they're very hard to see. And on my first safari experience, I get to see white rhinos, which was truly amazing. But they were really at a distance at this point in time. I even got to see lions. So, we got to see quite a few animals actually. Zebras were plentiful in Kenya. At a certain point, I was just like, okay, Nairobi National Park or Kenya National Park near Nairobi does not have any elephants, none that we saw. But I did get to fulfill my biggest life dream, which was to go to the David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust Orphanage, which is in Kenya, in Nairobi. So I got to see the baby elephants there, and that was like my biggest dream come true. I adopt baby elephants from this orphanage every year, support them financially. It's been a cause that's important to me for many, many years, and to see the babies in person was just truly something else. So that was amazing. I went to the giraffe center, which at the time I thought was like a giraffe sanctuary, but apparently it's not. It's just like some kind of educational center where they just have some giraffes that you can feed, but they're living well. They're not like confined to a super small area, so at least it's not like a terrible zoo, but I probably wouldn't have gone there had I known it wasn't actually a sanctuary. But I did feed some giraffes and they're very cute. I will say that the baby giraffes, the younger ones, when you feed them, they are so sweet and gentle. They like take the food from your hand very gently and just so sweetly, whereas the adult giraffes, they're just like gobble gobble and like, you know, you're at risk of being bitten by them. So, and you're supposed to put the food on their tongue like this. You're not supposed to hold it out like this. So you actually put the food on their tongue. But the young giraffes were just so incredibly sweet and gentle. Oh, I love them. I wasn't, you know, at the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust Orphanage. You cannot feed the animals, so they don't want to teach these rescued elephants who have been rescued from, you know, their mothers have and nannies have been poached, or, you know, they were found stranded, or their relatives were killed or died because of starvation or thirst, or, you know, or these baby elephants were found in a snare. So they're all rescued elephants who have been separated from their herd and need a lot of care and attention. You know, they get bottle fed a formula, and they get to go out with their, you know, their guides, and they get to spend time socializing with wild elephants as well, learning from them. It's amazing what they do. I will include links so you guys can learn about them and, you know, adopt some elephants if you would like. But yeah, we're not allowed to feed them, of course, because they don't want the elephants to trust the humans, so we weren't allowed to pick up any like grass or anything to feed them. But if they came near us, we were allowed to pet them, and yeah, so they're just absolutely adorable. After that, I can't remember which is the first park I went to, because I think it's Masai Mara, though. No, it wasn't Masai Mara. It was Samburu. Sorry, the first park I went to was Samburu for a couple days. Samburu is a park in Kenya, which is up north, and it's very, very dry. So it was like a semi-desert kind of area, actually. We actually saw animal carcasses, animals who had died from thirst and starvation, including elephants. It was quite sad. I saw elephants who were like searching for water. So most of the elephants had left. There was some left behind, which I'd been told by my guide, who just decided to stay behind and take a chance and try to find water. The park is so huge that in one part of the park there was like literally no water, where I saw some elephants, and I was like praying to God that they would go somewhere where there is water, because then later we went to another part of the park where there was a little bit of water, and I was so thankful to God. And I was like, I hope the other elephants can make their way there, where there actually still is some water in that park. After Samburu, I think that's when I went to Masai Mara. We went to a number of parks, so it's really hard for me to remember all the parks. Masai Mara is like the big park in Kenya. That's where the Great Migration happens, and, you know, I was there at the time that the Great Migration was supposed to happen. So the Great Migration is when a bunch of wildebeest migrate from Tanzania over the Mara River into Kenya. So they, you know, spend a part of the year in Kenya, they spend a part of the year in Tanzania. And when they're going over the river, it's like an all-out frenzy, because crocodiles are trying to kill as many wildebeest as they can. Lions are there trying to kill as many wildebeest as they can. And we're talking about millions and millions and millions of wildebeest, not just a small amount. I was supposed to see the Great Migration, like the trip was booked for the period of the Great Migration. However, I learned from my guides that the Tanzanians set fire to the grasslands to hold the wildebeest back longer, to keep the tourists in their country longer, so that they can see the wildebeest longer, which is really unfortunate. Like when I went to the Mara River, I could actually see the smoke on the other side from where the fires have been set to keep the wildebeest there longer. And I kid you not, like 2 days after I left Masai Mara is when the migration happened. So I guess the fires were finally put out and the wildebeest managed to cross over. So literally 2 days, I missed it by 2 days. I missed the Great Migration by 2 days. Oh well. So there was another thing I missed as well. I remember it seemed like the theme of the trip, because I remember later on in the trip I was talking to my guides and it seemed like, oh yeah, I remember what it was now. So when I was in Amboseli National Park, it was very cloudy. We got to Amboseli the day we got there, super cloudy. The next day, when I had my full game day, it's called a game drive, my full day game drive in Amboseli was completely cloudy. You couldn't even see Kilimanjaro. So Kilimanjaro is the backdrop to Amboseli National Park, which is stunning, you know, as you can imagine. It's like the highest peak, I believe, in Africa. The day I'm leaving Kilimanjaro is when the sky clears up and you can see it. So the day I'm leaving Amboseli is when you can see Kilimanjaro mountain. So literally missed that by 2 days as well. So like the day I had my full game drive and the full day game drive in Amboseli, I could have taken photos with Kilimanjaro in the background, but no, it was cloudy. It's the next day when I'm not doing a game drive in Amboseli when the sky decides to clear up. But at least I got to see the mountain at all, because I was told by people that there was a photographer who had come from far away to take safari photos with Kilimanjaro in the background. He's a photographer. He planned his whole trip just for Kilimanjaro, spent like 2 weeks there because it had been cloudy for 2 weeks apparently, and he started crying because he was so sad because he didn't get any of the photos that he had hoped to get. It's expensive to go to Africa, so if this photographer is flying from somewhere else in the world to get photos and his living, his income depends on this, his livelihood, that is really sad. So apparently he was really upset about it being as cloudy as it was. So yeah, so luckily at least I got to see the mountain, even if it was while I was driving away from there. I saw a couple lakes. There was Lake Navaishu and Lake Nakuru. I think Lake Nakuru is the first lake I went to. That's known for having a lot of flamingos, and it was really cool to see a lot of flamingos there. And you can also see other animals there. There's also like rhinos and other kinds of animals. A regular game drive you can just go and do. I went to a conservation site called Old Pajeta Conservatory. So it's a conservation site for lions and rhinos and chimpanzees, which they have come in from other countries because Kenya doesn't have chimpanzees. They rescue them from like other countries where they are killed or illegally captured for wildlife trade. They're illegally killed for meat. They're killed because of human-wildlife conflict. They're illegally transported to the Middle East so people can keep them as pets and stuff like that. So I went to the chimpanzee sanctuary and learned a lot about it, and it was so sad to see some of the conditions that the chimpanzees were kept in before they were rescued. I got to see some rescue rhinos, and I actually got to feed a rescued rhino. He's blind, and after I fed him, he like gave me a really big nudge. Like it was really big, like it like almost knocked me over, which I thought was really, really cute. Yeah, like I fed him all this like stuff, and then he just like all these branches, and then he gave me like a thank you nudge, which was really sweet. What else? Lake Navaisha is a lake where there are some hippos. And yeah, just went out on the lake, which was really beautiful, and saw some birds. I saw a lot of interesting birds while I was in Kenya. I saw some really sad things. I saw in my last day, my last safari in Amboseli, I saw an injured baboon, a mother baboon who was injured. It seems like another baboon had attacked her and she was bleeding. Her face was bleeding, like there was a big gash in her face. She was in so much pain. She was writhing in pain. She was like, so there's a part of Amboseli where there used to be lodges within the park, but then they got flooded out. So there is a ton of, empty like buildings and stuff where the animals have now taken over because the humans left them. So it's now like animal territory. So a bunch of baboons hang around there. So they were sitting on like this like concrete kind of like fence kind of thing, ledge, and she kept on rubbing her injury against the like stone. I think because the stone must have been a bit cooler, so she was trying to maybe cool it off, and she was just writhing, and it was just so hard to just see her in so much pain. So I asked my guides if there was anyone we could call to come and give her stitches and give her some painkillers or something, and they're like, no, it's nature, like no one's going to come and do this, like you have to just let it be. And I had painkillers on me, and I even had a banana on me, and I was like, oh, I wish I could give this baboon a banana laced with painkillers, because I actually literally had both on me. But if I had done that, other baboons would have come, and baboons can get really vicious apparently. And the poor baby was trying so hard to console his mama, and it was just so freaking sad to see. There were a bunch of other baboons, and eventually she got up and went to the group of bigger baboons. So I'm like, it wasn't the worst injury in the world, but then again, what do I know? I'm not a baboon. I don't know how she was feeling, but it didn't look like the worst injury in the world. So I hope she heals. I hope it like scars up, and that that it would have stopped bleeding, and that it would have healed, and that she'd have some scar tissue or whatever you call it, so that it stops bleeding, and that eventually she feels better, I hope. So that really sucked to see. It also really sucked my last night in Kenya. There was a cat at the camp, a domestic cat who had appeared at this camp, and the camp did not care about him at all. He was so hungry. He was not completely malnourished, but malnourished. He was begging for food, so I had some lentils, like a lentil kind of soup, which I gave to him to eat, and he gobbled it up so quickly. Like, a cat eating lentil soup, like, you know, this poor cat is very hungry. So I asked my guides to ask the camp staff in their native tongue, like, you know, do they take care of this cat? Like, what's the story? Because we're in the middle of nowhere. Like, when you're out in these parks, you're not like near like a lot of civilization. You know, these parks are, you know, that's why their plumbing isn't very good where you are, and you know, it's out there. It's not like where there's like, you know, running electricity 24/7. Like, you even have to monitor when you can use electricity and stuff like that. So, you know, you don't tend to see domestic animals here. So I asked about the cat, and they said that they don't know where he came from and they don't want him, so they don't feed him. And that upset me so much. So I started that night, you know, looking up information on my phone about sanctuaries in Kenya. Unfortunately, the next morning, I could not find this cat. Otherwise, I would have begged my guides to take him with me, because the next morning is when we were going back to Nairobi and they were going to drop me off at an Airbnb. So I would have had the opportunity to drop this cat off at an animal sanctuary, or a cat, you know, facility sanctuary, but unfortunately I didn't see him the next morning. So I called the two different cat sanctuaries, and none of them have the facilities, the ability to drive to Amboseli, which is 4 hours away, to pick up this cat. So then I got in touch with some other people to see if they could help this cat. One of them said he would, and then I followed up with him a couple of days ago to see if he was able to rescue this cat. No word. So what I think I'm going to do is leave a review on every platform I can find for this camp and post pictures of this cat, mention this cat, so that any other tourists who go there, if they happen to be going to Nairobi the next day and they see this cat, if they can take that cat with them and drop it off at one of these sanctuaries, because they said they would take the cat in as long as someone else could transport it to them. So I hope that can be done. So, you know, it was really amazing to see animals in the wild, lions, elephants, cheetahs. To have a cheetah walk right by your car is like the coolest thing ever. One thing that upset me about Kenya is how I do feel like they really need to, the guides and the people on safari need to respect the animals a bit more. There are animals who are trying to do what is in their nature to do, and they can't do it because cars are bothering them and surrounding them, and my car was guilty of that. I did stop my car from bothering an animal when I didn't want it to be bothered, but like, I can see how close they get to the animals at times, and I'd be like, you know, that's not right. You need to give them space. They need to be able to live the lives that they want to live without, you know, human interference. Like these cheetahs and lions who want to hunt and have all these cars surrounding them and cars trying to follow them for as long as possible, they're not going to be able to hunt effectively, especially cheetahs. So I learned about cheetahs. Yes, they are the fastest mammal on Earth, but that fastness, that speed is very short-lived, and they have to save all their energy for it. They get basically one shot at killing an animal to eat, and if they miss, then they have to, you know, try again like a day later, because it expends a lot of energy for them to do that. So they work together, cheetahs, because they're actually not very strong animals. They're fast animals, but not very strong animals. So a couple of them have to work together. They have to be really precise, know exactly which animal they want to kill, and then go for it all together to make sure that they succeed. Because if they don't succeed, they will not eat, and they will have to go and become weaker and find food somehow in order to save energy for their next kill attempt the next day. So the fact that people would not leave the cheetahs alone at all just bothered me. So I told my guides, like, you know, let's leave, because they need a chance to actually prepare for their hunt. There was another time where we saw an impala, which are like deer-like creatures. Like, there's so many impala in Africa. They're basically like the equivalent of deer in America. so we saw an impala. We didn't actually see her give birth, but like literally I think we saw her like right after she probably gave birth, because the baby was still covered in all that like amniotic fluid or whatever, and she was like licking the baby off and stuff. So I saw this from my binoculars, so I told my guys to not go near it at all, and luckily she was like in a spot that was, you know, not on a main like part where other cars were, so I hope no other cars saw her, because I did not want her to be bothered at all. You know, she's a new mother, and you know, they don't want cars around them and being scared when, you know, they need time to bond and stuff. I had a baboon come into my room, so I opened my door at one point in time to try to get more light into my room as I was packing, and I had bought a slice of cake from a rest stop the day before, and because my stomach was so upset I couldn't finish it, so I just threw it away in the trash can in a box, and the box had a cover. This baboon came into my room, pulled the box out of the trash can, opened it up, and started eating this cake. I kid you not. So you know, they tell us you're not supposed to feed the baboon, so I tried getting close to him to take the box away, and bad idea. You know, it looked like it was going to, you know, be very upset if I took the box away from him, so I decided to just let him have his cake and eat it too. So I recorded him eating his cake. So yeah, he ate the cake, and then he actually left with the box too. And then at breakfast, right after that, he like literally sat across from me waiting for me to just give him food. Like, he tried coming near me a few times, and then finally I was like, fine, just take my breakfast plate, because he was kind of scaring me. Okay, so yeah, so he had my breakfast as well. After that, I went to South Africa and I did safari in Kruger. South Africa is a completely different country from Kenya. Firstly, Kenya, you know, it's very sad. There's a lot of poverty there. And, you know, like I said, there's issues with plumbing, with water, with electricity. South Africa was so different. So I stayed in a hotel, actually, because I was really camped out, and thank God. So I actually have a friend who lives in South Africa. Well, no, he's South African, but he doesn't live there anymore. But he was coming back to visit his family anyway. So he decided to do Kruger with me. So we did Kruger together. And so we stayed in a hotel, which was really nice. It was just so nice to have like a proper shower, and like the bed was just so freaking comfortable. It's Protea Hotel right outside of Kruger Gate. Like, literally you can see Kruger Park from the viewing areas of the hotel. Like, the park is just in its backyard basically, and the park is like literally just like a minute drive away. The gate is, that is. So that it was just a really stunning hotel, just amazing. And South Africa is much cheaper than you know, America. So, you know, if you ever, flying there is not cheap, but once you actually get there, buying food, accommodations, all of that is cheap. So that's really good. So, you know, it wasn't super cheap, but you know, it's much more affordable than you would think to stay in a really nice hotel like this in South Africa. So we did safari in Kruger, which was cool, and that is when I think I saw like the coolest sighting I had ever seen. There was a pride of 27 lions. They had made a kill just on the road. So Kruger is different than Kenya, where they have actually paved roads and you're supposed to stay on the road. You can't do any off-roading like you can in Kenya. In Kenya, you can do as much off-roading in most of the parks as you want, except for Amboseli. You can't do off-roading in Amboseli. But in Masai Mara, Samburu, the other parks, you can do off-roading. Kruger, you can't. So the kill happened to be on a paved road, and so you have this pride of 27 lions feasting on a buffalo on the road. It was the most incredible sight. So, you know, I was with proper guides. So guides are really nice and generous, and so they know that there's word gets around. So the way the guides are, they always like they're talking to each other, they're letting each other know where they can get a good sighting for something. So word got around really fast about this like once in a lifetime sighting. So a line formed to go see this sight. So we're waiting in line for our turn, and I was really worried whether our turn would come or not, but it came. But we only had like 1 minute to take as many photos and take in the site as we wanted before we left. And unfortunately, oh my God, this day I was sitting on the wrong side of the Jeep. Like, literally every animal sighting was on the other side of the Jeep and I was on the wrong side. But I still managed to get, you know, some good videos and photos of this event. And then we left so that other cars could get a turn as well. Later on in the park, there was a leopard sighting, but the cars who were following the leopard were not as generous, so we did not get a chance to see it. Leopards are really hard to see. They are one of the big five, and they're very elusive. They are so hard to spot. They, you know, don't live in herds or packs or whatever you call them. They climb trees. They blend in so well. Their camouflage is incredibly, you know, good. They're really hard to see. I did spot a leopard in Kenya, but it was really, so the fact that there was a leopard in South Africa, but we couldn't see it because the people were not being generous and letting other people have a turn, that sucked, but oh well. What else did I see? yeah, just lots of cool animals. I mean, honestly, just so many different kinds of amazing animals. Birds, saw lots of eagles in Africa. I've seen more eagles in Africa than I've ever seen in New York State or America. It isn't the eagle the national bird of America, but I saw way more eagles in Africa than I've ever seen in America. What else did I see? Hippos, crocodiles. Yeah, oh, Amboseli was amazing because I saw the tiniest baby. I saw a baby who my guides estimated at being a week old. And I have a video of the baby, so I'll share that with you guys when I upload my video about Africa as well. It was the cutest little thing following its mom, and the mother went into a swamp, and the baby was kind of hesitating getting into the swamp a little bit. And once it did, like, you know, the water was like up to its like neck, and super cute. I saw another baby, and all you could see was like that baby's eyes and trunk popping out of the swamp. Super duper cute. Yeah. What else? In South Africa, I went to Cape Town after Kruger. I did the penguins at Boulders Beach, which was amazing. Oh, baby penguins are so freaking cute. What else? I did a whale watching tour. That was not very eventful. I saw some whale tails and like the tops of some whales, but no whales fully breached, so that was a bit disappointing. I went to the top of Table Mountain, which is absolutely stunning. Cape Town is just a stunning city. To live in a city where these people have this incredible mountain in the back. Absolutely amazing. I learned a lot about the history of South Africa, which is of course very sad because apartheid wasn't abolished until 1994, which is insane. Like that, the fact that there was apartheid in modern history in a modern country, and people of a different skin color are were being treated as second-class citizens still in the 1990s. Even that is just insane. I mean, but look at what's going on in America now. But I don't want to get political, but it's a very sad history. You learned a lot. You can learn a lot about it. You can learn a lot about how the different areas where the black people in South Africa lived were destroyed, and so I did go to the District 6 Museum. One thing I didn't get to do, so if I ever make it back, I'll do that, is go to Robben's Island where Nelson Mandela was kept as prisoner. So I do need to do that someday, because that was the one touristy thing I didn't do while I was in Cape Town. I did see the Cape of Good Hope. It's a misconception that that's where the two oceans meet. It's actually not where the oceans meet. But it's still like the southernmost part of Africa or something like that. So it's known for something, but it's not where the two oceans meet. What else? Gosh. Yeah, I mean, it was like a once-in-a-lifetime trip. There were some negatives. One of the negatives was that I learned a lot of lessons from this trip because I had taken my favorite purse and my favorite wallet with me, which were stolen in Kenya. The camp that I suspected where it was stolen, where we had no security, it was just a zipper tent. The camp say that it was my guides who stole it. My guides say it was the camp who stole it. I don't know. So I had a brand new Herschel backpack. I mean, it was so freaking brand new. I had used it only one day. It was a mini backpack with a really beautiful flower print. It was black with really beautiful flowers on it, a mini Herschel backpack. Within that backpack, I put my favorite purse. And within that purse, I had my favorite wallet. And I put this in a shopping bag that I had on top of a shopping bag that had some souvenirs, which I bought for my family. And that backpack was stolen. For certain reasons, I suspected it was certain people of the camp who did it. Not that I would want to see them punished in any way. I know life is different and, very hard in Africa, but, two of these items were my favorite items, and one of them was new, and it's not like I'm made of money, and so it just really, really sucked to have them stolen. And so I reached out to the camp and had multiple discussions with them, but they were pointing the fingers at the guides were pointing the fingers at the camp, and at the end of the day, I don't know who's telling the truth. So it really sucked, and I was just really, really missing these items and just feeling really sad about it. And I came back to America, and I was routinely searching Poshmark and eBay and all these other sites to see if I could find my favorite, like a replica of my favorite wallet. It was a Kate Spade wallet. It was a small Kate Spade wallet, orange in color, but the reason it was my favorite was because on the front it had two purple elephants, a mama elephant and a baby elephant whose trunks were like intertwined. So that's why it was my favorite elephant, because I had my favorite wallet because it had two purple elephants on it. So I searched everywhere online for it to see if I could find even a used one of it, because I bought it 2 years ago, so I knew that that I wouldn't be able to find like a new version of it anywhere. Oh my god, so someone found one on eBay which was being sold for more than double the original price. I bought it on sale like 50% off, so I paid much less for it than the original cost. But this person on eBay was selling it for more than double the original price. I was like, I'm not gonna buy that. But then finally this morning I came across a listing on this website called Mercari where someone was selling that wallet in a bundle with a purse used. So I ended up buying the bundle, even though I have so much debt right now just because I just love that wallet so much. So I'll sell the purse once that arrives, but I had to buy the whole bundle in order to get the wallet. So I finally found it used, so that's nice. But as far as the backpack and the purse, like, oh well, we'll see if I can find the purse at any point in time. But the backpack I probably will not try to replace myself because number one, again, I'm tight on money, and it's a newer item, so it's it might be easier to replace someday if I really want to replace it someday. So I learned not to take valuable items with me. Like I was going to use those items in Cape Town. I had no intention of using them in Kenya, which is why I had them in like a separate bag. But yeah, things happen. So that's that. So that was unfortunate. Yeah, so that was my Africa trip. I feel like I covered the major highlights of it. Yeah, so if you ever get a chance, again, the flights are expensive. However, I did use some miles that I had saved up. But I still had to pay taxes, which still came out to a lot. So the trip itself, the Kenya part of the trip was booked in 2020, or 2019 rather. So I had paid the fee for all my safaris in Kenya and accommodations back in 2019. The flights I had and all the South Africa stuff was booked now. So I'm sure that contributed a lot to the huge amount of credit card debt I have right now, which I need to pay off. But if you ever do go to South Africa, food and everything as an American is very cheap. Like the conversion rate as an American will really benefit you greatly. Like I would be shocked at what kind of a meal I could have for like, what would be considered to be like $4 American, like unbelievable. So yeah, I do really miss the amazing cheap food in South Africa. And I discovered a few cool locations while I was there. There's this place called Maker's Landing. So if you go to the Victoria and Alfred waterfront in Cape Town, it's stunning, and there are some really cool spaces there. There's this place called the Watershed with a lot of boutiques in it, shopping boutiques. There's Maker's Landing, which has a lot of cool food places inside, as well as the V&A food market has a lot of cool food places inside as well. But Maker's Landing is, I think, better. It's more open, a lot more, it's a very open space. It's got a lot of seating, and it's got this one place called Kapuchka, which has like Indian food, which I really, I guess, was craving and loved. And so I actually went there the day I was supposed to fly out as well, since I had a lot of time to kill in the morning. There's a lot of poverty. There's a lot of poverty in Kenya and South Africa. I talked to a number of homeless people actually while I was in Cape Town, because I would get approached a lot by people, homeless people asking for money. Like a lot of them, I was approached way more than I ever get approached in America. So I would give them money and then have a chat with them about their situation and stuff like that, and see, what they're trying to do to make their lives better, why, find out, some of them would tell me how they ended up in that situation, and just a lot of sad stories. But yeah, every government has its problems. America has a lot of problems too, but, so I hope that, they get the help that they need. My tour guides on one of the tours I was doing in South Africa did tell us about some of the programs that are there to try to help people who are homeless. But there's a lot of homeless people everywhere, and a lot more needs to be done. I guess there's in terms of things needing to be done, I feel like practical things would be so helpful. Like if you could provide just a space for people to wash their clothes and take a shower so that they can go to job interviews, like imagine what a difference that would make for homeless people. But if you can't even provide them a place to shower and wash their clothes, then they're not going to get a job. And if they can't get a job, they'll continue to be homeless. Like it just boggles my mind that it does not occur to governments to just create a facility where homeless people can do that, just where they can do laundry and take showers. Like, that in itself would just make a world of difference for these people. Yeah. You know, my day job, I work with a lot of people who are at risk of homelessness, so that's why I guess, you know, I tend to know more about what kind of services and things are available to people in my community where I live right now, because I need to know that kind of information for my job. So yeah, so that was Africa. I guess this is a super duper long video. I think I've covered all the major parts about my Africa trip. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below and I will answer them in the next video. I think I covered the major highlights. It was the lions, the baboon who was eating my cake, and all the amazing elephants I saw, and giraffes. Yeah. Oh, and the botanical gardens in Cape Town are really cool. There's this thing called the canopy tree walk where they have like this like wobbling, not majorly wobbling, but like this kind of like cool bridge, and you are surrounded by, you're in a tree canopy, which is just so freaking cool. Apparently there are snakes there though, so I was just so thankful that I went at a time when it's winter, because apparently snakes are more likely to be out and about in the summertime, but in South Africa it's winter right now, so thank God I did not come across any snakes while I was in South Africa. Yeah. So yeah, so I think that's it. Oh, one thing that I did, which was kind of funny, I had hoped I had taken, I was planning on taking photos, but I didn't. But I took all the Anna meeples from Wild Serengeti with me to Africa so that I could compare them to the actual animals and see which ones I've seen. And I can say that I saw every single meeple that is in that game, including all the ones that come with the extras, the expansions for that game. So yeah. So I will try to this weekend or sometime soon, I hope, upload all of my photographs and create a nice polished video with photos and video clips of my trip for you guys to see. And again, if you have any questions about Africa or about any of the games I've played or any campaigns or anything like that, let me know. And if you have any suggestions about what kind of content you would like to see from me, let me know. And so until next week, I guess, bye.